Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, yeah.
Oh, there you are.
Live from Warren Buffett's cash pile.
Wow. Really?
I want some of that cash, I guess.
Well, if we're live from it, can we just pocket a little bit?
I don't think that's how the world works, Matt.
Oh.
It's yet another Manic Monday edition of Business Pants, joined by the Lord of Analyst Holes.
I'm the lord of that now?
Well, I kind of forgot. What are you, king?
I'm just an analyst
Just
hole.
analyst hole.
You're the one who names me. I don't know.
I forgot. In today's swampy anthill, again, called August 7th, 2023, Top 9 Sexy Monday Stories and Director of the Week.
Yeah, the
Do we have
board
that?
member of the week. The
You do that?
BM of the
board
week.
member. Sorry, BM of the week. See, I'm screwing everything up. All the copy.
It's almost like you didn't update your copy in
I don't know what's going
pre-production
on.
today. Yeah, we have that today. Is this
Oh,
show
good.
sponsored by anybody today?
Not on Monday, but it's open for people. We have a pretty incredible, almost a year now, sponsorship agreement with S-Gage. We're looking into deepening that relationship. So to everybody else, especially in the ESG space, reach out to us. And just so you know, if you haven't done your due diligence, S-Gage is not like a guy named Doug. Sorry, Doug, who just has a company. It's like Paul told us it's like over 100 people, over 100.
Yeah,
right?
they're a big deal. They have a
deal.
lot of governance data. They have a lot of data, and it's good.
My
good
long-winded
data.
point is that if they can sponsor us, then you should be sponsoring us. I'm looking at you, Glass Lewis.
I like your points. Here we go. Let's do the top 9 stories. I don't know why we're doing 9.
All right, let's get it over with. Let's go do all the Musk shit up top.
Oh, this is how we're starting our Monday.
Yeah.
All right.
First, at X, formerly known as Twitter, Elon vows to cover the legal costs of anyone who gets in trouble with their boss for their activity on his social media platform.
Yeah, that sounds like one of those vows that's not going to happen.
He's promising to no limit, no matter what you've done, no matter how heinous you are of an individual. He claims that he will foot the legal bill.
But only if you do it at work.
Okay, but no. I think if you just post it in your free time, if you're just a horrible piece of excrement, you're like a neo-Nazi misogynist jerk,
really?
and your boss fires you or something, right? Elon will swoop in and support the Proud Boys, right? Defend them. Is that what he's saying?
Yeah. I mean, I guess what if what I posted on, like, X is now going to be like Prince in 1998 or whatever, where it was like the artist formerly known as Prince.
Mm-hmm.
What if you posted on former Twitter something about your boss
On the former Twitter, yeah.
that like you just hated them and they were horrible human beings and it had nothing to do with ideology, and then you like accuse them of being
It's free speech, baby.
Yeah, right? So if you get fired for that, if you said, not only is my company a shithole, but I hate my boss and I wish they were dead, and
eats
they
puppies.
fire you,
Yeah.
Musk will cover that.
I don't know. I mean, now that you mention it, I probably fell for this. Like, it's probably just another one of his empty vows.
This seems
I
like
fell for it as being some kind of company policy because
I
I know
think
he's okay. I'm
tweets are company policies.
And shouldn't this come from CEO Linda Yaccarino?
Yeah, what's she up to?
I want to hear her say
She's
it.
a bit busy.
All right, moving on to Tesla. A lot going on at Tesla. So the Tesla executive who the Wall Street Journal said just a few months ago was next in line to be CEO. In fact, in the lawsuit, there was a suggestion by board member James Murdoch. Is that the Murdoch family member on the board?
Murdoch, yeah, one of the Murdochs.
That there was someone in line to be the next CEO of Tesla. You know, he was
nice, yeah.
saying, "Don't worry, we're not going to have this crazy person as our CEO, Elon Musk, forever."
Sure.
That person, CFO Zachary Kirkhorn, has just stepped down
Oh.
I don't really know why he's staying until the end of the year while his successor takes over. It's a bit confusing. I don't know. And remember, just a few weeks ago, Tom Zhu was appointed as the deputy CEO of Tesla.
Isn't that the reason why?
I guess, but why? This is what I hate about regulatory filings. Why can't they just tell us? Zach is an idiot. Zach hates Elon because Elon promises to support the legal bills of Proud Boys. I don't know. Just tell us something. It shouldn't. I mean, we're so focused on shareholder interests for good or for bad. So I would think that all your anti-ESG people would join me in this. This is the kind of disclosure you would need at a publicly traded company, right? Your potential successor is just suddenly leaving with no, you don't care.
I feel like yes. But also no.
It's a weird thing for me to be passionate about.
Yeah. The things you want to know are where on their shirt they got a spaghetti stain
I know.
and who makes tuna salad and brings it to the office, right?
Plus, there's a large correlation of when my caffeine kicks in is when I start caring about things of the news stories I'm covering. It's true.
I mean, most of this just seems like clearly Musk is tired of Zach and likes Tom. And it's like that. Feels like it.
Meanwhile, at Tesla, in just the past 10 days, I decided to go back and look at some of the articles that we've tagged here at Free Flow. Okay. This is the same company. Meanwhile, at Tesla, there's a bunch of random headlines. Tesla under investigation by California Attorney General over autopilot safety and marketing.
Yeah, I heard about that.
Tesla has been exaggerating its vehicle's potential driving distance for years by rigging their range estimating software.
Whoa!
According to Reuters, Elon Musk himself gave Tesla workers the order to do that. Tesla is facing a class action suit based on those exaggerated range claims. Elon Musk is bringing Tesla showrooms to Native American tribal land to get around local car dealership laws.
Yeah, we covered that.
And Tesla is under investigation by U.S. auto safety regulators over complaints that new cars can lose steering control.
Yeah, we did cover that.
So all
That's
this
a fun feature.
All this is going on at a company where there is no real oversight in place. So maybe it's important. Yeah.
What I talked about this with Jesse last week. Mm-hmm. Musk has mastered, if he's mastered anything, he's mastered the casual indifference to regulated spaces and the active seeking out of unregulated spaces.
Well, this is the tech move created in the late 1990s, right?
I mean, Twitter is basically a semi-unregulated space. Mars is where he wants to be, where there's no regulations, right?
Yeah.
But actually, we should pause on the rigging the driving distances. Mm-hmm. That's a massive deal.
Yeah.
Because
why?
If you were think about so VW had its large
Dieselgate.
scandal, Dieselgate in 2014, 2015, something like that, right? Where what they were doing was they were lying about the the emissions of their diesel cars. They were just straight up lying about it. Now, there was a law about how much emissions the car could have, right? But they were lying about it and rigging it. There's not a law about talking about the distances. But isn't this the same thing as rolling
Where's
a truck
Ralph Nader?
down?
We need Ralph Nader for this one.
But this is rolling a truck downhill.
This is worse.
And saying that it works. This is
worse because you're potentially stranding your customers at 2 a.m. on a
people
highway.
Will buy on the electric vehicle market. You buy based on a range consideration. The first thing people ask is how far will it go? That's the first thing.
Yeah, but even beyond buying it, you rely on this data to get your family safely from place to place. No, it seems important.
I mean, I just don't that. Seems like it's going to be a way bigger deal because anybody who bought a Tesla that said the expected range was 250 miles or 300 miles or whatever, could go back and say, we bought this under false pretenses that you've rigged the software. We bought this thinking we were going to get X. We're only getting Y because you rigged it that way. And we want our money back. If people want to get out, this is your moment. Hey, MAGA Tesla owners.
Yeah, Jesse. You're talking about Jesse?
Anti-MAGA Tesla owners.
The
people
money
who
whisperer.
bought it when it was cool to have it.
Yeah.
This is your out. This is your out.
That's true.
File
Actually,
the lawsuit.
maybe what you're trying to say is that this is also Tesla CFO Zachary Kirkhorn's out. Maybe this is why he's bailing.
It might actually be. I mean, there's a lot of things you just
going
listed
on.
in the last 10 days.
All right, moving on. Let's talk about Japan. We never talk about Japan. Women in boardrooms in Japan, they had a commitment by 2030 to have 30% of the boards held by women, which seems laughable when you look at the data in Asia.
Yeah.
Latest report out of Nikkei, Asia.
Yeah.
Am I saying that right?
Yeah, the Nikkei.
Of the roughly 1,800 companies listed on the Tokyo Stock Exchange, just 68 of them have met the 30% target. This is an improvement of only 1 percentage point from 2021. So nothing is happening. Nothing.
I mean, the problem is they don't have enough women in Japan. That's the problem, right?
Oh, I'm guessing that's not the problem.
Oh, no?
I'm guessing.
And then there's some other problem you're suggesting.
Yeah, there's some kind of a patriarchy, I suppose.
I will say this. Free Float Analytics Data, which is a sponsor of this show. I know you forgot to mention them.
Which I use now daily in my research. Well, why wouldn't I?
They actually found that there was a paper from a couple weeks ago. When you look at the influence of women on the board, countries that have quotas and mandates about how many women you're supposed to have on the board have larger power gaps than countries without them. So maybe Japan's just being honest. They're basically saying, yeah, we know we have a mandate, but we don't want to give women any power at all. So why put them on the board at all? Why have the figment of our imagination?
I think what you're saying is that the next generation is even more screwed because they're not even going to get people on the board, women on the board in the first place to gain experience.
Yeah, forget it.
Nikola.
Ooh, we were talking about
trucks rolling
downhill.
I'm not going to spend a lot of time on Nikola because you're covering Nikola later, are you?
I am, yeah.
They named
What's with your accent today, Leda?
I don't know. They named their fourth. Which accent do I have? I don't even know.
It's like Leda, and
I don't know. Who knows?
You're like a weird Brooklyn.
I'm not
New
though.
Yorker or something.
Names their fourth CEO in 4 years.
Yeah, that's correct.
We're
going to talk about that guy.
All right. Sam Altman, OpenAI CEO, is already nervous about what AI might do in elections. Here's the quote. I am nervous about the impact.
Right, that's correct.
about the impact AI is going to have on future elections, at least until everyone gets used to it. He says that parenthetically.
Okay.
Personalized one-to-one persuasion combined with high-quality generated media is going to be a powerful force.
Just back me up really quickly.
Yeah.
This is the same Sam Altman, there's not more than one, that said AI will destroy humanity, right?
Yeah, now he's worried that it's going to essentially dupe stupid people, which is half the electorate.
Yeah,
so,
okay. That's already happened. But I feel like a stepping stone to dooming humanity at large is dooming elections. I'm not sure that this is different. Like, why? And now he's just nervous. He's just like,
here's the sad
nervous.
part. Here's the sad part is because the suddenly the stock market is becoming disinterested in AI after a bounce, after like a 3
is
to
it
6
really
month bounce.
already?
Well, a little bit it seems like, but these stories are kind of just going away. Like I don't think people are as worried about regulating AI as they should be.
I think we're exhausted. I mean,
okay, well that's true. That's true.
It is an onslaught of shit to be constantly exhausted.
We
about.
contribute to that.
I know we're not helping. Like I'm going to make this worse. In
I can make it better.
Yeah, make it better. Make me feel better.
Next headline. The sickest day of the year for American workers is coming up this month. So, Matt,
wait,
what
why
do you
does
think?
that make me feel better?
Okay, this is really strange. This is based on research, employee data the last 5 years. What do you think? This is the day that American workers call in sick the most. Do you have any idea what that day might be?
I mean, I would have thought it was the day after the Super Bowl,
I don't
or
get
like
this,
like
but I love it.
Valentine's Day. After
I was
sweet lovemaking. I don't know.
I think those are better guesses. I was actually thinking maybe it's I know it sounds kind of dopey, but the Friday before Labor Day, maybe people want like that last 4-day weekend before school starts.
Yeah. That makes sense.
No, it's August 24th. I don't get it.
on August 24th?
I don't know. I don't get it. If Jessie were here, I would ask her to look back into our HR records to see, did any of us call out sick ever on August 24th?
Wow.
I want to know this.
August 24th is coming up. I'm looking at National Today is the name of the website. I'm looking for August 24th. Here are some options. National Waffle Day.
Oh, well, that's a good
August.
excuse.
It is
But
National
you can eat waffles and still work.
It's also National Burger Day. So I don't know how many people are taking burgers and putting them between waffles. Right? That's to combine your days, you know? And then you would have to stay home because you basically gave yourself a heart attack and diabetes simultaneously.
And you're just, I was going to say, you're just sleepy, really.
It's National Flag Day in Liberia, and the Liberian flag looks a lot like the American flag.
That might have something to do with it, yeah.
But I might have a culprit. It is National Knife Day.
Oh, so you think it's
I think there's a lot
death by suicide
death
kind of
by
thing?
murders.
Okay.
And finally, it is National Pluto Demoted Day. It was the day Pluto was made a dwarf planet.
Oh, so
All
people are
possibilities.
depressed.
I'm just saying those are
too many
I'm not making those up. Those are real days.
Too many carbs, too many self-inflicted knife wounds, and too much depression over demoted planets.
Pluto
That does
being a
lead
dwarf
to
planet.
a hangover.
You're home after that.
All right. Director of the news from our database, Free Flow Analytics. His name is Anthony Welters. He sits on the board of Lowe's, where he has 1% of influence. Gilead Sciences, where he has 8% of influence. And the Carlyle Group, where he has 2% of influence.
Wow, he's a big nobody. This guy.
He is the man cited as the one who gave Supreme Court Justice Clarence Thomas the money to buy his luxury RV. So one of our directors cited in the New York Times as giving a Supreme Court Justice money to buy a big, stupid vehicle.
How many...
It's a bad look. It's a bad look.
No, it's not great. But how many of the Lowe's, Gilead, Carlyle shares did he sell to get the RV for Clarence Thomas?
See, I wish we had that information too.
See, that is actually more than, like the disclosures that you want. That's the one I want to know. How many RVs did you buy for Supreme Court justices with your shares? That's what I want to know.
HSBC's head of public affairs. Again, I pointed this out last year. Every executive and director in the UK is a sir.
Oh, yeah. No, that's true.
His name is Sir Sherard Cowper-Coles, has apologized. I just love when executives apologize. After accusing the British government of being weak for complying with U.S. demands to cut back business dealings with China, okay?
Yeah,
and let's not forget, HSBC gets about half of its profits from China and Hong Kong, right?
Yeah, they're like Hong Kong based. I think they were dual headquartered at one point.
Here's what it tickled me and why I included this story. I got into a rabbit hole with this guy. Okay, this is Sir Sherard Cowper-Coles, HSBC executive. He was the Foreign Secretary's special representative to Afghanistan and Pakistan. After leaving the Foreign Office, he worked at BAE Systems as an international
defense contractor, right?
Right, international business development director. And then he left BAE and became a senior advisor to the chair and the CEO at HSBC, okay?
Fun, okay.
You know what also, Matt? He's also the president of the Jane Austen Society. Okay. Yeah, you want to say something?
No, continue.
Yeah. So I looked into the Jane Austen Society. As it turns out, despite being founded by a woman in 1940 and being bailed out recently by another woman, the co-founder of Cisco Systems, there's eight people in leadership. 6 of them are men.
What?
I'm sorry. I know it's like I'm being a little bit too serious with like gender roles, but even the Jane Austen Society has to be dominated by male executives. Everything, every board, everything, everywhere has to be.
And it's Sir. It's a sirs. How many of the people who lead the Jane Austen Society are also sirs? Do you have that stat?
No. All right, that's it. I'm moving on. What he should be apologizing for is the huge female power gap at HSBC. 15%. That's 15% female power gap.
I mean, I would like from now on if everything that Sir Sherard Cowper Coles, which what a name, everything he says as the head of public affairs at HSBC, it starts with a quote from Sense and Sensibility. That's what I think would round this out.
The good news is that one of the two women who they actually let have a say at the Jane Austen Society, she is the honorary secretary. That was nice they gave her that.
That's so nice.
Two more stories. Tyson Foods expands chicken plant closures after reporting almost a $500 million quarterly loss. That's a lot in a quarter. $500 million.
That's a lot. I don't like the way that headline is written. Expanding closures. It's. I don't know why it confuses me a bit.
It's true. It's like, I hear what you're saying. And I only pointed out this story because it's fun to remind people that their CFO.
This is all an excuse to talk about.
Yeah, this is all an excuse. In case it's the first time you're ever listening to this show, the CFO over at Tyson Foods, a publicly traded company, John R. Tyson, whose daddy, John H. Tyson, is the chair of the board.
That's true, yeah.
He, less than a year ago, he was arrested after drunkenly entering random woman's home and sleeping in her bed.
Yes.
And before he became CFO at Tyson Foods, he was their chief sustainability officer.
That's right. Yeah, that's right.
Sorry. Always makes me laugh. Yeah. And I'll remind you before you say something, 2 Tyson family members control 66% of the board influence according to our data, Freeful Analytics.
That's all I was really going to say. Although we do not have we have not built into that model any sort of debit for drunkenly entering a woman's home and sleeping in their bed. We didn't figure that out yet.
And finally, in a story that Matt is very excited about this morning.
I am, yeah.
Zoom. You know Zoom, the video service that you probably use a lot during the pandemic? Maybe still do.
Pandemic winner. We're Google
Zoom,
people, but yes, I get it.
Although you had an interesting point that I'll elaborate on later, but I'll let you talk about this. Zoom can now train its AI using customer data, essentially, according to its new updated terms.
That's true.
At first, I didn't think this was. I was just like, okay, well, yeah. I mean, all these companies do it, but you had an interesting point about therapy sessions, and the one time I do use Zoom is therapy sessions. I actually prefer Google Meet for everything, but my therapist uses Zoom.
He's on Zoom. Yeah.
And why is that a problem?
Well, so what Zoom did was they rewrote their terms of service to include one little line that says they can also use all the content and transcripts from the use of Zoom to train their AI. They can basically use AI.
So they can use all of my pathetic conversations with my therapist.
The problem with this is there are no carve-outs for HIPAA laws or, so doctor-patient conversations are meant to be totally confidential. Like say you're, a lawyer and you're talking to your client, that's confidential. There are no opt-outs and there are no carve-outs in the terms of service for sensitive. You can't say no. They just say we have, and it's the unlimited, unlicensed, they basically say we have the rights to all of it and you can't say shit about it.
It's interesting that you point that out. Let's start with just the knowledge that this is another one of these fake public companies. This is run by a dictator,
that is
Eric
correct.
Yuan, CEO and founder, right? So there's no ostensible oversight. He controls everything.
That's true.
But we were looking at the board early, and we were moderately impressed with the amount of
it's a lot of big wigs,
tech knowledge, a lot of big wigs, a lot of movers and shakers.
Yeah.
But what they don't have, which is interesting that you're pointing out HIPAA, is anyone that represents the customer community, anyone that represents part of stakeholders, right?
They have.
Now that you mention it, it is probably crucial for these tech companies as we move into the future.
What they mostly have, but even these are the people that should not have gotten lost on. The cybersecurity committee of the board is 3 people.
They have a cybersecurity committee, a board
They do
level
have
committee.
a
That's
cybersecurity
impressive.
committee. That's
Okay.
impressive, right? Cindy Hoots is the chair of the committee.
Great name.
Great name. She is the head of data security, or what is she the head of?
Chief Information Officer at
Digital
AstraZeneca.
Officer at AstraZeneca. So pharmaceuticals. So you got to know like what you can share, what you can't at a pharmaceutical company, I would imagine. The other two people on the committee include H.R. McMaster, who's the head of the National Security Committee under Trump, and Janet Napolitano, who was the head of the president. She's the current head of the President Biden's Intelligence Advisory Board, or she's
Former
a
head
member of it.
Homeland
And
Security.
She's the former head of the Homeland Security. These are people who know exactly what it is to like use data in some of the worst ways possible, and they are enabling the terms of service to say you can use basically illegally use data. You can use anyone's data for anything. So next time you're on a conference call with your corporation and it's over Zoom, know that everything you're saying goes into a transcript that they will feed into AI to replicate how bored you are during every single meeting. That's the reality. That's what's happening.
I guess it does beg the question that when you are a board member at these companies, and what are we calling them now? Enablers?
Yeah, the enablers. Yeah.
But when you're an enabler board director at a company where 76% of the board influence is controlled by one person, Eric Yuan, maybe you do kind of mail it in when it comes to these kind of decisions, right?
I mean, the evidence
who cares?
suggests it, right? Like, so we define enablers at Free Float Analytics. I should say Free Float Analytics defines enablers as any board member on the board where someone owns 50% or more of the influence. So like Jeff Bezos, it's not a dual class company, but Jeff Bezos owns, 57% of the influence or 60% of the influence, according to Free Float Analytics. Everybody else on that board is basically enabling Jeff Bezos. So the metric here is, do you sit on a board where it's basically one dude who makes all the fucking decisions and you just listen to what that guy has to say? And then you're an enabler.
According to our data, his name is Bezos. Also, according to our data, if you're interested, if you're impressed by the fact that Zoom has board members, McMaster and Napolitano that you just pointed out, they control an aggregate of 1% of board influence.
All right. Yeah.
So again, like you do have to wonder what's going on with these companies. All right, that's it. Come on.
All right,
on.
let's do the BM of the week.
Yes.
Get out of here.
BM. What does that mean? BM.
The board member.
Board member. Okay, got it.
I'm going to drop a giant
family
BM
show.
on you of this week. Okay. You said something, you pulled a quote in your discussion of Nikola's new CEO, Steve Gursky. Nikola's new CEO, Steve Gursky. Apparently, there was a quote in which they're going to ease him into the job, even as the current CEO departs. There's going to be some easing into the job, and I really like the idea of easing Steve Gursky into the transition as CEO. And here's why: Steve Gursky has been on the board of Nikola since 2018. His company, Vector.io, brought Nikola public through a SPAC. He's the CEO of the company that brought them public via SPAC. In fact, as part of bringing them public,
that was in 2020. Is that right?
2020. Yeah. What they did was they added they classified the board further. Prior, it was a two-tier classified.
Usually goes the other way around. Yeah.
Now they made it 3. They made it more classified. And they added supermajority voting. So basically, it was really hard to get rid of anybody.
Yes, there was was it Nikola? They just had a shareholder vote.
They did.
Approved another class of shares. I think this is like in the last few days.
Well, Gursky himself, as the SPAC sponsor, made himself the third largest shareholder at Nikola when it went public, and he almost entirely cashed out when Nikola was trading at the high around $60 a share. In fact, his estimated take-home pay was $5 million just for taking them, just on the shares alone, if not more. It's currently trading at $2.18 a share. So it went from roughly 60-ish to $2-ish. Not great. And when he joined the board, Gursky joined as the part of the nominating and governance committee. So that would be the committee that A, hires CEOs, and B, oversees stuff like fraud and things like that.
Oh.
Now, lest you forgot, Nikola's founder, Trevor Milton, has been accused of and found guilty of fraud for rolling a truck down a hill and saying that it was functional when it wasn't functional.
Yeah.
So now they've had 4 CEOs in 4 years. Gursky has been a part of the committee that nominates all those CEOs. And now he's nominated himself. He's basically like, this isn't working. I'm just going to put myself as the CEO. The governance committee.
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead.
No, keep going.
The governance committee has had a rotating cast of chairs and members that included, and this is since 2020. I'm checking my watch. It's only 2023. Since 2020, they've had 3 separate chairs of the nominating and governance committee that include Jeff Ubben, Lynn Forrester de Rothschild, and Gursky himself. And the board in the last 3 years has not been able to maintain a single female director for more than 2 years.
Oh.
Every time one joins, they either opt out 1 year or 2 years later. They cannot hold on to a woman. And this is the Free Float Analytics data that we have on Gursky. This is sponsored by freefloatanalytics.com. Go there, get a free account. You can read all this. Gursky is one of the worst directors on the board. He is batting overall 137.
Well, can I also say he's also the most hated director on the board? As of a meeting, shareholder meeting 4 days ago, he got almost a third of votes withheld against him. He's the most hated director on the board.
Nobody likes this person.
No.
Not a single person. He will go from 15% influence of the board to around 20 to 30% influence on the board if he retains the chair position when he becomes CEO. But this is why
governance matters.
I would go with this is what a governance shit show looks like. As
and this is
unfolds,
why,
right?
Yeah, but this is why, like, any anti-ESG crusade is clearly full of shit. If you're not allowing your investors access into this level of data, then
it's so stupid.
Yeah, it's stupid.
So what we've got now for our BM of the week is a director who named himself CEO,
despite being the most hated by shareholders.
Shareholders don't like. Who bats 196 for TSR, 211 for earnings. He has basically a global worst, 0.022 in controversies. Who's overseen fraud at the company badly. He was there in 2018 before the fraud. He was part of ousting Trevor Milton after the fraud. And then he can't keep a CEO and he names himself CEO.
Maybe he's a placeholder for Tesla CFO Zachary Kirkhorn. Maybe that's where Zachary's going to end up. They're going to throw like a Musk-like $1 billion pay package at him.
I didn't realize this is the Kirkhorn
That's
rotator.
my conspiracy.
That's what we got for the BM of the week. That's what we got. We got a lot. That was a lot. You went through a lot.
Should the BM of the week be on a Monday? I mean, you have no other BMs?
Look, everybody wants to set up their week with a nice solid BM, and then
Stephen
the rest
Gursky.
of the week you kind of curve.
Like
you can go right through. That's it. That's Damian Morales. I'm your analyst, Matt Mascardi. We are Free Float. Go to freefloatanalytics.com, our sponsor. Get the data that we use in this show and we talk about all the time. If you don't do that, I don't know what you're doing with your life. I really don't. There's so much data in there that's useful. Otherwise, come back on Wednesday for Woke Wednesday. Until then, goodbye.